Let's evaluate the limit of x squared sine 1 over x as x approaches 0. So pag napansin nyo, etong limit natin is actually a product of two functions. We have x squared tsaka sine 1 over x. However, we cannot use the limit law na limit of x squared times limit of sine 1 over x. Kasi nga, yung limit ng sine 1 over x does not exist. Okay? Hence, we need to use another technique in evaluating this limit. That is using the squeeze theorem. We should find a function f of x smaller than this, okay? And a function h of x which is larger than this for values of x near 0. So since alam natin na yung sine 1 over x natin is bounded, ibig sabihin nun, di ba yung sine 1 over x natin is greater than or equal to negative 1 but less than or equal to 1. Di ba yung tsura ng sine natin, yung ganyan? Di ba? Negative 1 to 1 siya. Okay? So alam natin na bounded siya doon. Ngayon, if we multiply x squared sa lahat, anong mangyayari? We have negative x squared. Okay? So, x squared sine 1 over x squared. Okay, so napalabas na natin yung gusto natin. Ngayon, tignan natin ito. Ano nga ba yung limit nito? The limit of negative x squared as x approaches 0 is actually equal to 0. And, eto naman, the limit of x squared as x approaches 0 is actually equal to 0 din. Okay? So, since 0 yung limit nila, ano ngayon ang conclusion natin by squeeze theorem? Then, we say that the limit of x squared sine 1 over x as x approaches 0 is also equal to 0. So, taking a similar argument to that of example 1, let's find the limit of x squared cosine 1 over x as x approaches 0. We know that cosine 1 over x, okay, is bounded by negative 1 to 1. So we multiply x squared para mapalabas natin yung kailangan natin. Okay? And we know that the limit of this as x approaches 0 is actually 0, and the limit of this as x approaches 0 is actually 0. Therefore, the limit of this now is also equal to 0. Now, using squeeze theorem, let's find the limit of 2x squared minus cos 4x over x squared minus 1. So, we start with cosine 4x. Okay? And we know that this is bounded by negative 1 and 1. What's next? We multiply negative 1 sa lahat kasi negative cos 4x yung hinahanap. So, negative 1 times 1 is 1. Note that magre-reverse yung ating inequality. So, we have negative cos 4x. Then, reverse, we have negative 1. And then, kailangan natin ng 2x squared. So, we add 2x squared sa lahat. So, we have 2x squared plus 1. Okay? So, 2x squared minus cos 4x. Then, 2x squared minus 1. So, since kailangan natin ng x squared minus 1, we divide everything by x squared minus 1 over x squared minus 1 over x squared minus 1. Ngayon, i-check natin, ano nga ba yung limit nitong dalawang ito? Okay? So, the limit of 2x squared plus 1 over x squared minus 1 as x approaches positive infinity is actually equal to, okay, paano yan? Mag-divide tayo ngayon ng x squared. Tama? So, we have 2x squared over x squared plus 1 over x squared over x squared minus 1 over x squared as x approaches positive infinity. Bakit? Kasi 'di ba, yung napag-aralan natin nung nakaraan, kailangan magkaroon tayo ng x something sa baba para sure tayo na magsi-zero siya. Okay? So this now becomes, matatanggal na yan. 2 na lang yan. Ito naman magiging 1 na lang yan. Okay? And we are sure na ito 0 na yan as x approaches positive infinity. Therefore, the limit now is 2 over 1 or equal to 2. Okay? So, yung limit na nito is 2. Okay, tignan naman natin yung kabila. So, again, mag-multiply tayo ng 1 over x squared. So, we have the limit of 2x squared over x squared minus 1 over x squared over x squared minus 1 over x squared as x approaches positive infinity. Then we cancel this. Okay, magiging 1 yan. So this becomes now 2 at ito becomes 1. So sure na tayo na ito ay 0. Therefore, the limit is 2 over 1 or equal to 2. So ito, ang limit din niya ay 2. Since 2 ang limit nito at 2 ang limit nito, ano ang limit nito? Then we conclude that the limit of that is also equal to 2. So let's evaluate the limit of x squared times e raised to sine 1 over x as x approaches 0. Again, we start with sine 1 over x kasi alam natin na bounded yan ng negative 1 and 1. And then, erase natin lahat sa e. Yun. Anong susunod? We multiply everything by x squared. So, x squared e raised to negative 1. So, we have x squared e raised to sine 1 over x. Then, we have x squared e raised to 1. So, let's take now the limit of this and this one. Ano nga ba yung limit ng mga to? So, as x approaches 0, the limit of x squared e raised to negative 1 as x approaches 0 is actually equal to 0. Diba? Kasi ito, real number lang to. Tapos ito naman, 0 squared. So, 0. Okay? Yung limit naman ng x squared e raised to 1 as x approaches 0 is also equal to 0. So, since 0 silang dalawa, ano ngayon ang limit nito? Then, we say that the limit of this is also equal to 0. Now, using squeeze theorem, let's evaluate the limit of 2 times the greatest integer function of x plus 1 over x as x approaches negative infinity. Okay, saan tayo magsisimula? Dito. Kasi alam natin, bounded yan. Diba? Alam natin na ito is actually greater than or equal to x minus 1 but less than or equal to x. Tama? Okay? Now, we multiply 2 sa lahat. So, we multiply 2 sa lahat. Okay? And then, we add 1. So, we have 2 times x minus 1 plus 1. 2, greatest integer function of x plus 1. Then, we have 2x plus 1. This is now equal to 2x minus 2 plus 1 or 2x minus 1. Okay? So, pwede na natin palitan yan ng 2x minus 1. And then, we need to divide x by everything. Yan. So, tapos na, napalabas na natin yung kailangan natin. So, ngayon, evaluate na natin yung limit ng dalawang nasa gilid. Ano nga ba yung limit nito? Okay? So, the limit of 2x minus 1 over x as x approaches negative infinity is equal to, okay, mag-multiply tayo dito ng 1 over x. Okay? Kasi kailangan matanggal natin yung mga x na yan. Okay? Para sure tayo na magka-0. This is equal now to the limit of 2 minus 1 over x over 1. as x approaches negative infinity, which is equal to 2. Okay? So, yung limit nito ay 2. So, 2 na to. How about the other one? So, the limit of 2x plus 1 over x as x approaches negative infinity is equal to, again, mag-multiply tayo ng 1 over x para maging limit of 2 plus 1 over x over 1 as x approaches negative infinity. Which is also equal to, mazizero yan, 2 over 1 or 2. Okay? So, ang limit din nito ay 2. So, ano ngayon ang limit nito? Since 2 yung dalawang nasa gilid, then by squeeze theorem, we say that the limit of this as x approaches negative infinity is equal to 2.